Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole. If you are new, please subscribe. If you are returning, welcome back. I did a freezer meal prep video this weekend. So my daughter moved out and my son and my husband are adjusting. She typically took something out, whether she cooked it or I cooked it. She was really good about taking stuff out, so the boys have been forgetting to take stuff out, and we have no freezer meals. I used to actually every Sunday stock them up for the week, or I would do it every other week and stock them up for 2 weeks at a time. Made various things like stuffed chicken and choice baked potatoes, all stuff that they could just pull out and everybody could pick whatever flavor they wanted and put it on a pan and put it in the oven and dinner was done. Or I've done some of the things that I'm doing today. I've done many different things depending on what everybody likes. So I think it came out to 9 meals, and that'll get them through maybe 2 weeks or so. We don't typically do it every night. Sometimes I do remember to take stuff out, but the going out to eat because nobody took anything out, or me getting off work and I'm too tired to cook is common right now. So with this, they can take something out, we just throw it in the oven, or we defrost something, throw it in a pan and heat it up, and then just some mashed potatoes or some noodles or something like that needs to be made, and a vegetable. So that is kind of my goal with the freezer meals, is to get them to not be eating out as much, myself included, because obviously, I could always make some scrambled eggs and some toast or something like that for dinner, but when somebody's like, oh, let's go here or let's go there, you're like, oh, okay, well, let me, modify it for my diet needs. But even still, it's still very highly processed foods, and still some of the stuff I use to make my meals is, processed, like broth and cheese and things like that. So just healthier options. So that's what this video is going to contain, is some ideas for some freezer meal preps and what my family eats. And some of them I will eat for my what I eat in a day videos as well. So when I peel potatoes, I put a bag on my table. We keep our plastic grocery bags, and this way I'm not having to lean over a garbage can or sit in a chair and lean over the garbage can. So just peel them, throw them in a bowl, and then rinse them, and then cut them in. So potatoes are getting ready to go bad, so need to use them up. So we'll have quite a few dishes that have some potatoes in it, which the boys like, so it'll be alright. Don't start fighting, guys. No fighting. So I've diced up all the potatoes. Now I'm just going to add the seasoning. So I put olive oil. I always do salt and pepper. Every time. Some Italian seasoning. Onion powder. I'm using this steak seasoning, just very generic steak seasoning. It's got salt, spices, garlic, onion, canola oil, natural flavor, extract of paprika. I might add the buttery steakhouse. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to be using this for multiple recipes, so I try to keep it a little bit bland. And I don't mean bland as in like no flavor, just bland as in like what kind of flavorings I choose. And my family really likes the steakhouse seasoning on the potatoes. This actually looks pretty good. probably save the steakhouse for the flavoring for pork chops. I've got 2 pans ready to go. One of them is a metal pan lined with foil. The bottom of the pan has seen better days. And I don't want the stuff flaking off into my potatoes, but it's still usable if I put foil in it. And then the other one's just a glass, both of them sprayed with some Pam olive oil spray. I've got my oven preheated to 350. Hello, get your nose out of there. No, you can't have any. You won't eat it anyway. Alright, I'm just going to wash my hands and get them in the oven. Alright, next thing I'm going to make so I can get in the oven while the oven is hot with the potatoes is bake some chicken. I'll dice it up and throw it with. So I do the Kingsford lemon pepper. And then I also do the Flavor God lemon garlic. And I start antagonizing the carrots. And then I've got a pan here with some parchment paper sprayed with some Pam. Ever since I started using parchment paper when I bake chicken, every time with pepper, something with pepper in it. Whew. Ever since I started using the parchment paper, I always use it, and it's not even for a cleanup issue. It's just for ease of flipping, and it gets crispy. So, and then I just bake these, and I'm going to end up cutting them up, or just putting them on top of the potato bake. So I'm going to wash my hands and get those in. So I am making chicken Parmesan, and we use wisps. So it's late, and I didn't want to wake my grandson up since I have them this weekend. So I just put them in a freezer bag and rolled them out with a rolling pin. Works pretty good. Alright, next I'm doing another chicken. Doing chicken Parmesan with the wisps as the breading. It's actually a great keto. So a little bit of olive oil, Italian seasoning, onion powder, and then the Weber garlic Parmesan seasoning. So we've been using the wisp ever since I went gluten-free for allergies. We've been using the wisps, and it's good. It's crispy. You definitely need parchment paper. The first time I made it, all of the breading just came right off, and you flip them so they get crispy. But if you do the parchment paper, they flip beautifully. I have egg. Now, you want to make sure that you get quite a bit. So you want it coated a lot. Put it on there. The next piece.
piece. This one's a little tiny one, but for dinner, vegetables is my highlight, so a small piece is good for me. There we go. Let me put this guy in the middle because it's tiny. Alright, and then we're going to bake these in the oven too. Alright, next thing is some pork chops. I've got my cast iron pan. Good. I'm going to end up using the rest of it anyway. Little bit of this. So that was just my steak seasoning, and this is Buttery Steakhouse. So I sear these in the cast iron, and then I make a gravy sauce. Not quite hot enough, but that's better. Alright, and a couple more pieces in there. So we're gonna grill it up in the cast iron. Alright, that is the pork chop. I put some Italian sausage in the other one. I'm going to be making bangers, and I will explain more about what bangers are in a little bit. So I've got these two going right now. Pork chops are getting close to needing to be turned. Kind of just looking to make sure that they're seared. That's what you're looking for. Alright, for the gravy for the pork chops I'm searing, it is just the McCormick brown gravy. You will not be eating the pork chops, so I'm using just regular brown gravy. We get the big jugs at Costco. If I were eating it, I would use the gluten-free brown gravy packets, and then I add Italian seasoning to it and some onion powder. Pork's not really doing all that great with my stomach right now. I've been eating meat again that long, so I'm kind of sticking to like chicken or Italian sausage because that doesn't seem to hurt my stomach. I don't thicken the gravy. I just mix it up. Make sure it's all mixed together. It won't be thick. And then I just put it in the bag that I'm going to put the pork chops in. And then as soon as the pork chops are done searing, I'll throw them in there. And then that'll be it. Alright, so got the pork chops seared on all sides. Now it is not done. Put it in the bag. Or how many of you're making. Now the sauce is very, very loose, but that's because it has not thickened up. So be careful when you close your bag. So it's very, very loose. So I will put it in the freezer, and I will put it flat so that it freezes flat, and then I can stack them. And then what What my family will do is they'll take this out the night before or the morning of, take it, throw it into a saucepan, and it will thicken up and finish cooking the pork chops as it cooks. And then they'll make a side to go with it. Usually they do mashed potatoes or pasta. But it's a nice, quick, easy meal. I recommend writing on your bag before you put it in. I forgot this time. Alright, for the sauce for the Italian sausage, because I will eat the Italian sausage, I make my own. So I do 1 tablespoon of gluten-free flour. And I warm up the water so that the flour can dissolve, otherwise it's lumpy and you never really get the lumps out. And then I do a huge scoop of beef broth. So I use the Better Than Bouillon. I love this brand. Love it. So adding some onion powder, some minced onion, and some Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse. Just give all a mix. And then I will dump that into a freezer bag with the Italian sausage. And this time I labeled it beforehand. So there is 5 bangers, and this is make with mash or screws. So what they'll do is they'll take this out. So normally we do bangers and mash. My family actually didn't believe me when I told them there was something called bangers and mash, but we were in Europe for a couple of years when the girls were small, and it was very, very popular in restaurants. And one of my favorite cooking shows to watch on Netflix is The Great British Baking Show, and they talk about bangers and mash a lot. And so I made it one night for dinner, and it's just Italian sausage in brown gravy over mashed potatoes, and you know, they love it. And one day we were out of mashed potatoes, we were out of potatoes to make mashed potatoes, so we made pasta, and all I had was rotini, and it looked like screws, and everybody was like, well, what are we going to call it? It's not bangers and mash. And so then it became bangers and screws. So now they like it both ways. So what they'll do is they'll take this out, they'll thaw it out, decide which one they want to have that night. If it's mashed potatoes, they'll make mashed potatoes. If it's pasta, they'll cook the pasta, and then they'll just toss it in the sauce at the end when it's all done and cooked. So it's very popular here in my house. So that's pretty much all they really need to do is defrost it and make mashed potatoes or noodles. Alright, time to check on the potatoes. They're getting nice and crispy. So, most people, these would be done. My family likes them crispy, so I'll leave it in for a little bit longer. so I'd say about 15, well, maybe 10 more minutes, and everything in the oven will be done. Alright, so I pulled the chicken Parmesan out of the oven. I put a jar of roasted garlic and herb Prego sauce. Put the chicken in, put a little bit on top. And I'm just going to cover it with some mozzarella. And then this will go in the freezer. I'll wrap it and it'll go in the freezer. And this can either go into the oven frozen, or they can take it out the morning of and we can put it in. It doesn't really matter. And then there's enough sauce in the bottom that we will make noodles. And I can make my gluten-free. They can make their regular. And I might not even make noodles. We did try it before with making the noodles and putting the noodles in it, and they were just mushy, so we don't do that anymore. But this is, you know, enough, and then you throw it in the oven, and while it's in the oven you make pasta, and it's easy. Alright, so 1 can of the potatoes. I'm going to get 3 pieces of the chicken, and this is 1 piece of chicken for lunch through the week. Give it a mix. Now this will have leftovers, but my son will eat the leftovers. Mozzarella. And then a little bit of cheddar. And then this just gets covered up and sealed and put it out. This can be cooked frozen or it can be thawed and put in. And then we usually just make a vegetable to go with it. So, yeah, this is usually what we used to make for when there was 4 of us, plus a little guy. But, like I said, my son will eat the leftover for lunch throughout the week. So, it won't go to waste. Alright, the other pan of potatoes is putting pack of Italian sausage, which is 5. We'll do 3 packages of Italian sausage, 1 for this and 2 for the bangers. Picking a pan, my butt. Alright, so my favorite barbecue sauce is Heinz barbecue sauce. So put some on here. And I always throw a little bit of Carolina Virginia, just because it's a little bit thinner, but it also gives it like just a little bit of a tang. And then mix it up. Top it with a whole lot of cheddar, and we usually pair this with like corn, baked beans, something like that. Alright, and then it just gets foiled, gets thrown in, and again, this can go in frozen or defrosted as well. So I put a frozen pork roast in my Instapot. So it looks almost done. I put it in for 45 minutes. I knew I should have put it in for an hour. So now I gotta close it and let it build up pressure again, and then do it for another 15 minutes, and then we'll check on it then. Alright, I took my other pork roast, put it in the Instapot, shredded it up, mixed it on the stove with some Kraft Original. So, I'm just going to throw it in the freezer bag, thaw it out, warm it up in a pan, throw it on some buns, eat it with some chips or noodles or potatoes or whatever we want that night. I put 3 pieces of chicken in my pressure cooker, and it's shredding up just fine. I'm going to add some chicken gravy powder to make shredded chicken and gravy. And throw that in the freezer bag, and then all we'll have to do is defrost it, warm it up in a pan, just like the shredded pork. This can go over mashed potatoes. It can get mixed in noodles. So again, whatever we decide that day, we'll make. Okay, I do not have chicken, but I have turkey. And same thing, really. Throw a little bit of Italian seasoning, a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of minced onion. I am out of garlic powder. So, I just use the water that's already in there because it's already, you know, got all the chicken juices and stuff in it. So, that's kind of what it looks like. That's where all the juice is right there. So when we take it out and warm it up, it'll thicken, and we'll throw it over mashed potatoes or mix it with some noodles. Alright, we'll put it in the freezer bag, get it labeled, and it's another one done. I have a little bit of chicken, not left over, but when I clean up the chicken before I bake it and stuff like that, I always trim off like fat and gross bits, and sometimes there's a little bit extra stuff if a piece is too big or something like that. So all those little bits are in here. Just toss it with some of the lemon garlic and the lemon pepper, and I will throw that in with that piece of leftover chicken for me to eat throughout the week. Alright, so I am making rice in my rice cooker. I am not adding anything to it this time. I'm just going to leave it plain because I'm going to use it for a couple of things, I think, this week. You know what? My son wanted some rice too, so. 2 cups of water. Alright. 2 cups rice, 4 cups water. White rice, try to boil, take a start. And now it's all set to do its thing. Alright, this is the rice that I prepped with the rice cooker, and this was the 1 piece of chicken I had left over from the baked chicken, and then the chicken I cooked up in the pan. I threw it all together in a container. Okay, I took out 2 pork roasts. One of them goes in the crock pot on the days that I do the meal prepping. So this will be going into the crock pot. I'm going to marinate overnight. I'm doing the big family meal prep Friday night. Tomorrow I'll be doing my meal prep. So this is the buttery steakhouse. This is Flavor God Steak and Chop. I just put a little bit of olive oil to coat it. A little bit of onion powder. So this is honey and garlic seasoning rub. A little bit more olive oil. So what I'll do is I'll let this marinate overnight. And tomorrow when I get up and start meal prepping for my food throughout the week, I will not use potatoes because I used up all my potatoes. I'll throw it in the crock pot. Probably make pasta with dinner, like a rice or pastaroni box or something like that, and I'll have a salad. So this will go in the fridge, in the crock pot, tomorrow when I do my meal prep for my stuff for the week. Alright, this is what I have got for meal prep for dinners. Not for the week, just to have some stockpile in the freezer. Henry, get your nose out of there. So I have 2 bags of the bangers, 2 bags of pork chops, a bag of shredded chicken, a bag of barbecue pork. This is the chicken and potatoes. This is the sausage and potatoes. And that is the chicken Parmesan. So it's all cooled off. I will wrap it up. I put foil on the top of those 3 and then wrap them with some cling wrap. And then these just go in. I am going to put them in like this. Originally I'm flat, but I want to make sure that the meat stays in the juice. So I'm going to freeze them that way. Okay, that is it for the freezer meal. Thank you for sticking with it till the end. I know it was a longer video. So this will help my family for the week, probably the next 2 weeks, so that we can eat some better meals than going out to eat. And I will let you know when I eat them in my meal prep, or my what I eat in a day videos is where you'll see those, and let you know and give you some feedback on how they are. I know we like them. We've had them multiple times in the past, but I'll show you how they reheat and warm up. And I will see you guys in the next video.